The Galactic Technology Summit. The space station Titan's Gate hung in the void like a glittering jewel, its crystalline towers stretching for miles in every direction. Ships from across the galaxy docked at its countless ports, each vessel more magnificent than the last. Today marked the most important event in galactic history, the annual Innovation Showcase, where the greatest civilizations would display their technological marvels. Dr. Sarah Chen pressed her face against the small porthole of the human transport vessel Endeavour. Her breath fogged the glass as she watched alien ships glide past with impossible grace. Some moved without visible propulsion, others seemed to bend space around them, and a few appeared to phase in and out of reality itself. Beside her weathered Earth shuttle, they looked like works of art next to a rusty toolshed. "Nervous?" asked Captain Marcus Rodriguez, the grizzled pilot who had volunteered to fly humanity's delegation to this historic gathering. His uniform bore patches from a dozen dangerous missions, each one earned the hard way. Sarah adjusted her glasses and straightened her simple black suit. Terrified would be more accurate. We are about to present chemical rockets to civilizations that can fold space-time. Marcus chuckled, his scared hands steady on the manual controls. Hey, those chemical rockets got us to the moon. That has to count for something. As they docked, Sarah gathered her presentation materials: 3 data tablets, a small holographic projector, and a briefcase containing physical models of Earth's latest propulsion systems. Everything looked primitive compared to the seamless technology she glimpsed through the station corridors. The main exhibition hall could have housed Manhattan. Its transparent dome offered a breathtaking view of the galaxy, with millions of stars twinkling like distant promises. Floating platforms held the displays of various civilizations, each more impressive than the last. Sarah found herself assigned to Platform 47, tucked away in a corner where few would notice. The placement spoke volumes about how the galactic community viewed humanity's technological contributions. The opening ceremony began with fanfare that made human orchestras sound like children's toys. Harmonic frequencies that bypassed the ears and spoke directly to the soul filled the vast space. Commander Zachthul of the Hegemony Coalition took the central stage, his 4 arms gesturing gracefully as his translated words echoed through universal communicators. Welcome, beings of the galaxy, to our celebration of technological supremacy. Today we witness the pinnacle of cosmic achievement as our greatest minds share innovations that will shape the next millennium. The presentations began with the Crystalline Dominion. Their representative, a being of living diamond, demonstrated technology that converted thought into matter. With a simple mental command, she created a fully functional starship from nothing but focused intention. The audience gasped in amazement as the vessel materialized in perfect detail. Next came the Void Dancers, ethereal beings who existed partially outside normal spacetime. They showed how their ships could travel between galaxies instantaneously by stepping through dimensional folds. What would take light years to traverse, they accomplished in heartbeats. The synthetic collective followed, their machine consciousness displaying weapons that could restructure matter at the atomic level. They created and destroyed miniature planets with casual ease, their plasma cannons painting aurora patterns in the demonstration space. Each presentation drew thunderous applause and amazed whispers from the crowd. Sarah watched with growing dread as the technological gap became apparent. These civilizations wielded forces that humanity barely understood, let alone mastered. Ambassador Crix, a diplomatic representative from the Stellar Alliance, noticed Sarah's discomfort. His species resembled tall, graceful mantises with pearl-like carapaces that shifted color with their emotions. Currently, his shell glowed soft blue, indicating curiosity mixed with sympathy. "First time at the showcase?" he asked in accented but perfect English. "Yes, and possibly our last," Sarah replied honestly. "I am beginning to think we might be out of our league here." Crix's antennae twitched, and what she had learned was their equivalent of a smile. Every species feels that way during their first presentation. What technology does Earth offer? Sarah opened her briefcase reluctantly. chemical propulsion systems, nuclear fusion drives, and some advances in material science. Nothing that can create matter from thoughts or fold spacetime. Before Crix could respond, a commotion erupted near the main viewing screens. News feeds from across the galaxy were broadcasting an emergency alert. The images showed a human commercial aircraft making an emergency landing, smoke pouring from one engine as passengers evacuated down emergency slides. The hall fell silent as beings throughout the galaxy watched humans flee from their own burning technology. Then, slowly, laughter began to ripple through the crowd. It started as quiet chuckles, but grew into full-throated mockery. They cannot even build safe atmospheric aircraft, someone called out in the universal trade language. How can they pretend to belong among the stars when their machines fail within their own atmosphere? Added another voice. Commander Zachthel's expression shifted to barely concealed contempt. Perhaps we should reconsider the wisdom of including such primitive civilizations in our gathering. Sarah felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment, but she forced herself to stand straight. The presentation had to continue, regardless of the circumstances. When her turn finally came, Sarah walked to the center platform on unsteady legs. The massive crowd seemed to press down on her from all sides. She activated her simple holographic projector, and images of human rockets appeared in the air around her. I am Dr. Sarah Chen, representing Earth and humanity, she began, her voice barely carrying in the enormous space. Our species has been spacefaring for less than a century, but we have achieved significant milestones with our available technology. The hologram showed the Saturn V rocket that carried humans to the moon. Compared to the elegant alien vessels surrounding them, it looked like a controlled explosion barely contained by metal tubing. Our chemical propulsion systems use controlled combustion to achieve escape velocity. While not as sophisticated as your dimensional drives or thought matter converters, they have proven reliable for our needs. Scattered laughter echoed through the hall. Someone in the crowd shouted, "Reliable? We just watched one of your flying machines catch fire." Sarah pressed on, showing their fusion drive prototypes. We have developed fusion-powered engines that can theoretically achieve 15% of light speed. The technology is still experimental, but our projections indicate experimental fusion, interrupted Commander Zachthul, his forearms spread in a gesture of disbelief. We perfected fusion technology before your species discovered agriculture. What could you possibly teach civilizations that have moved beyond such primitive energy sources? The mockery grew louder. Aliens pointed at the crude-looking human technology and made jokes in languages Sarah could not understand. She glimpsed recording devices capturing her humiliation for posterity. But Sarah had not survived graduate school, NASA selection, and years of test flights by giving up when things got difficult. She cleared her throat and spoke louder. Our technology may appear primitive, but it has one advantage that your advanced systems might lack: independence from exotic energy sources. Our rockets work anywhere, anytime, using materials and fuel that can be produced on any world with basic chemistry. The laughter died down slightly as some beings considered this point, but Commander Zachthul dismissed it with a wave of his upper arms. Independence through limitation is not advancement, he declared. Why would any rational being choose inferior technology when superior alternatives exist? Your chemical rockets are like using wooden clubs when energy weapons are available. Ambassador Crix leaned forward from his seat. What else can Earth offer the galactic community? Sarah hesitated, then decided to share humanity's most recent discovery. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected unusual energy signatures approaching from the galactic rim. We believe something significant is heading toward the core systems. This announcement caused a stir, but not the kind Sarah had hoped for. Commander Zachthul's expression shifted from contempt to annoyance. You claim to have detected something that our quantum sensor networks missed. Our surveillance systems can peer into other dimensions, map subspace fluctuations, and predict stellar formations centuries in advance. What could your primitive telescopes possibly observe that we cannot? Sarah pulled up the data on her tablet, showing wave patterns and energy readings that had puzzled Earth's scientists for months. These signatures do not match any known phenomena. They appear to be absorbing ambient energy as they travel, growing stronger with each system they pass. Several alien scientists examined the data with what appeared to be casual interest. A representative from the Energy Syndicate, whose species existed as pure consciousness within mechanical bodies, spoke through harmonic resonance. These readings show natural cosmic phenomena. Dark matter interactions, perhaps stellar nursery formations. Nothing that would concern advanced civilizations with proper shielding and defensive capabilities. The dismissal was complete. Not only had humanity's technology been rejected, but their warnings were ignored as the product of inferior understanding. Commander Zachthal stood to address the assembly. The Galactic Council will now vote on Earth's application for technological partnership status. The vote was swift and unanimous. Species after species rejected humanity's bid to join the galactic community. The reasons varied, but the theme remained consistent. Too primitive, too dangerous, too limited in understanding. As the ceremony concluded, Sarah gathered her equipment with shaking hands. Decades of human dreams and aspirations had been crushed in a single afternoon. The species that had split the atom, walked on the moon, and sent probes to the edge of their solar system had been deemed unworthy of galactic recognition. Captain Rodriguez found her packing up near the transport docking bay. His expression was grim but determined. "Rough day?" he asked quietly. "The worst," Sarah replied. They laughed at everything we showed them. Even our warning about the energy signatures was dismissed as primitive misunderstanding. Marcus helped her carry the equipment cases. "You know what I learned flying combat missions. The enemy always underestimates you right before you prove them wrong." Sarah managed a weak smile. "I appreciate the optimism, Marcus, but I think we are genuinely out of our depth here. These civilizations have technology that seems like magic to us." As they boarded the Endeavor, neither of them noticed the subtle changes in the background cosmic radiation readings on the ship's sensors. The energy signatures that Earth's primitive instruments had detected were growing stronger, and they were moving faster than any of the galaxy's most advanced computers had calculated. In the depths of space, something vast and hungry had noticed the beacon of energy that was the Galactic Innovation Showcase. The very technological supremacy that the assembled civilizations celebrated with such pride was about to become their greatest vulnerability. The last human ship departed Titan's Gate carrying a cargo of crushed dreams and wounded pride. Behind them, the galaxy's greatest minds continued their celebrations, confident in their superiority and dismissive of primitive warnings. They had no idea that within 72 hours, those same primitive humans would become their only hope for survival. The cosmic irony was about to unfold on a galactic scale, and the species that had been laughed out of the Innovation Showcase would soon be begged to save everyone who had mocked them. But first, the galaxy would have to learn a harsh lesson about the dangers of absolute technological dependence and the value of simple, reliable solutions in the face of the impossible. When primitives became saviors, 72 hours after the humiliation at Titan's Gate, the galaxy learned the meaning of terror. The first system to fall was Sirian Prime, home to the Energy Syndicate's most advanced quantum processing facilities. The beings of pure consciousness who had dismissed Earth's warnings watched in horror as their mechanical bodies simply stopped functioning. Every fusion reactor, every quantum processor, every exotic energy matrix went dark simultaneously. The distress signal lasted exactly 14 seconds before cutting off forever. Dr. Sarah Chen was reviewing failure reports in her small office on Lunar Station Beta when the emergency broadcasts began flooding Earth's communication networks. She watched the holographic displays with growing dread as system after system reported the same impossible phenomenon. Total technological failure. "Sarah, you need to see this," Captain Rodriguez called from the communication center. His face was pale as he pointed to the incoming data streams. The crystalline Dominion's living diamond beings were sending desperate messages. Their thought-to-matter convergent technology had backfired catastrophically, turning their creators into lifeless crystal formations. The Void Dancers found themselves trapped in normal space-time, their dimensional folding abilities completely neutralized. Most shocking of all was the silence from the Hegemony Coalition's core worlds. Commander Zachthel's proud empire, with its four-armed citizens and reality-bending technology, had gone completely dark. "It's spreading faster than light travel," Sarah whispered, analyzing the pattern of system failures. "Whatever this is, it's not bound by normal physics." The answer came from an unexpected source. Ambassador Crix's damaged ship limped into Earth's solar system, its pearl-like hull scared and flickering. The mantis-like being's carapace had shifted to deep crimson, indicating extreme distress and fear. "Dr. Chen," Crix's translated voice crackled through the damaged communication system. "You were right. The energy signatures you detected, they were not natural phenomena. They are entities, living entities that consume technological energy." Sarah and Marcus rushed to meet the alien ambassador as his ship crash-landed in the Nevada desert. They found Crix barely alive, his elegant form twisted with exhaustion and terror. "They call themselves nothing," he gasped as human medics worked to stabilize his alien biology. "They speak no language, make no demands. They simply feed. Every advanced technology we possess becomes food for them. Fusion reactors, quantum engines, plasma weapons, dimensional drives, all of it consumed." "How did you escape?" Sarah asked, kneeling beside the injured ambassador. Crix's antennae twitched weakly. "My ship's emergency systems are mechanical backups. Ancient technology my people kept for historical purposes. When everything else failed, these primitive systems continued to function." The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. The same technological simplicity that had made humanity a laughingstock was the key to survival. Within hours, the pattern became clear. Every advanced civilization in the galaxy was falling to the entities now designated as void feeders. These beings existed partially outside normal space-time, making them immune to conventional weapons. But more terrifying was their ability to drain any form of exotic energy, growing stronger with each meal. The quantum computers that could process infinite calculations became silent. The plasma cannons that could shatter planets fell dormant. The fusion reactors that powered entire star systems went cold. But in a small facility hidden beneath the Colorado mountains, human engineers worked frantically with tools that would have been considered obsolete by galactic standards. Chemical rockets, mechanical computers, gunpowder explosives, and nuclear fission reactors that the aliens had dismissed as primitive curiosities. "It's insane," muttered Dr. James Wright, Earth's leading aerospace engineer, as he supervised the assembly of humanity's desperate gambit. "We are preparing to fight cosmic entities with technology that is barely more advanced than what we used in World War II." Sarah checked the readings on their hastily modified spacecraft. The vessels looked like nightmares of pipes, wires, and barely contained explosions. No elegant curves, no impossible materials, just human engineering at its most practical and brutal. "Sometimes the best solution is the simplest one," she replied, remembering her grandfather's words about fixing farm equipment with whatever tools were available. The fleet Earth assembled would have been laughable under normal circumstances. 12 ships powered by chemical rockets and nuclear fission reactors. Their weapons were kinetic impactors, chemical explosives, and projectile cannons that used gunpowder charges to fire metal slugs. Captain Rodriguez would command the flagship Defiance, a converted mining vessel that looked like it had been built from spare parts and desperate hope. His crew consisted of test pilots, mining engineers, military veterans, and anyone else brave or foolish enough to volunteer for humanity's first interstellar combat mission. "Remember," Sarah addressed the crews through old-fashioned radio communication, "these entities feed on advanced energy sources. Our technology is so primitive they might not even recognize it as threatening until it's too late. The human fleet launched from Earth with the kind of spectacle that had once marked humanity's greatest achievements. Fire, smoke, noise, and barely controlled explosions pushing fragile vessels into the darkness. No graceful departures, no silent efficiency, just raw power applied through mechanical force. They reached the first battle zone to find the remnants of the Galactic Defense Fleet floating dead in space. Magnificent vessels that had once been the pride of their civilizations now drifted like empty shells. The crews were gone, consumed along with their ship's energy sources. But the void feeders were still there. Sarah had expected monsters, but what she saw defied description. The entities existed as geometric impossibilities, shapes that hurt to look at directly. They pulsed with stolen energy, growing larger and more complex as they fed on the accumulated technology of 1,000 civilizations. All ships maintain formation, Rodriguez ordered through mechanical radio systems. Remember, they cannot drain what we do not have. The first void feeder noticed the approaching human fleet and moved to intercept. Its form shifted and flowed as it attempted to drain the ship's energy. But nothing happened. Chemical combustion continued unabated. Mechanical systems kept functioning. Nuclear fission reactors maintained their steady output. For the first time in their existence, the void feeders encountered technology they could not consume. The entity paused, its impossible geometry flickering with what might have been confusion. In that moment of hesitation, Captain Rodriguez gave the order that would echo through galactic history. All ships, fire everything. The battle that followed would have been absurd under any other circumstances. Primitive chemical explosives and metal projectiles against cosmic entities that had consumed the energy of entire star systems. But the absurdity worked in humanity's favor. The void feeders had evolved to counter advanced technology. They could neutralize plasma weapons, drain quantum computers, and absorb exotic energy matrices. But they had no defense against a simple chemical explosion or a chunk of metal traveling at high velocity. The first entity Sarah's ship engaged tried to phase shift to avoid their kinetic impactors. But the metal slugs weren't powered by exotic energy fields that could be disrupted. They were just solid matter following the laws of physics. The impacts tore through the entity's form like bullets through paper. "It's working," shouted Dr. Wright from the weapons station. "They cannot adapt to purely mechanical attacks." Across the battlefield, human ships pressed their advantage. The Defiance's mining charges, originally designed to break up asteroids, proved devastatingly effective against entities that had never encountered such crude weaponry. The converted cargo hauler Thunder Road used its industrial cutting lasers, powered by simple chemical batteries, to slice through void feeder formations. But the real breakthrough came when the entities tried to feed on humanity's nuclear reactors. Unlike the clean fusion systems used by advanced civilizations, human fission reactors were crude, unstable, and prone to dangerous fluctuations. When the void feeders attempted to drain them, the reactors didn't shut down gracefully. They threatened to go critical. "They're backing away from our power sources," reported Lieutenant Commander Singh from the engineering vessel Prometheus. "Our reactors are too unstable for them to safely consume." Sarah realized the cosmic irony of their situation. Humanity's reputation for dangerous, unreliable technology had become their greatest weapon. The same instability that had made galactic civilizations dismiss human engineering was now protecting Earth's fleet from energy-draining entities. The battle turned into a rout. The void feeders, confused and wounded by attacks they couldn't understand or counter, began to retreat. But the human fleet wasn't finished. "All ships, pursue," Rodriguez ordered. "We end this here." What followed was the galaxy's first successful offensive against the void feeders. Human ships, powered by chemical rockets and armed with explosive charges, chased cosmic entities across 3 star systems. Every time the beings tried to feed on abandoned alien technology, human weapons destroyed both the equipment and the entities attempting to consume it. The final confrontation occurred near the ruins of Titan's Gate. The massive space station where humanity had been humiliated now served as a feeding ground for dozens of void feeders. They had grown enormous on the station's advanced technology, their forms pulsing with stolen power. "This is for everyone who laughed at us," Captain Rodriguez muttered as he guided the Defiance toward the largest entity. The human fleet didn't engage elegantly. They flew straight at their targets, weapons blazing, engines screaming, hulls groaning under stresses that would have destroyed more sophisticated vessels. But they held together through mechanical solidarity and human stubbornness. The battle ended when Dr. Wright achieved something that would have been impossible with advanced technology. He overloaded the Prometheus's unstable reactor core and rammed it directly into the primary void feeder. The resulting explosion was neither clean nor efficient, but it was devastatingly effective. The entity didn't die gracefully. It convulsed, its stolen energy discharge creating aurora displays across half the system before finally collapsing into harmless space dust. The surviving void feeders, faced with an enemy they couldn't understand or defeat, retreated into the darkness between galaxies. They had learned the same lesson the galactic civilizations would soon discover. Never underestimate someone just because their technology looks primitive. In the aftermath, as human ships limped home with battle damage and empty fuel tanks, the galaxy's survivors began transmitting desperate messages to Earth. The same species that had voted unanimously to reject humanity's technological partnership now begged for protection. Commander Zachthul, his empire in ruins and his pride shattered, sent a personal message to Dr. Sarah Chen. His forearms trembled as he spoke through a jury-rigged mechanical communication system. "Dr. Chen, on behalf of the Hegemony Coalition survivors, I formally request Earth's assistance in rebuilding our defensive capabilities. We were wrong to dismiss your warnings and mock your technology. We understand now that advancement and effectiveness are not always the same thing." Sarah looked out at the stars from her office on Lunar Station Beta. Somewhere out there, the galaxy's greatest civilizations were learning to build with chemical reactions, mechanical systems, and nuclear fission reactors. Technologies they had abandoned millennia ago now represented their only hope for rebuilding. "Marcus," she called to her old friend, "I think we are going to be very busy teachers in the coming years." Captain Rodriguez joined her at the observation window. His uniform bore new patches from humanity's first interstellar victory, but his expression remained humble. "Think they have learned their lesson about underestimating the underdogs." Sarah smiled, remembering the laughter that had echoed through Titan's Gate just days earlier. "I think the galaxy has learned that sometimes the most primitive solution is the most effective one, and that human ingenuity, stubbornness, and a willingness to work with inferior technology can accomplish things that pure advancement cannot." Outside their window, human ships continued their patrols of the solar system. Chemical rockets and mechanical computers standing guard over a galaxy that had finally learned to respect the value of simple, reliable engineering. The age of technological supremacy was over. The age of human pragmatism had begun.